My beloved child, stop scrolling and remain here for a moment, because what you are about to hear did not arrive by accident. Something has been moving quietly behind the scenes of your life, and the reason you have felt unusual pressure, unexpected delays, and emotions you could not fully explain is about to become clear. Do not rush away from this moment. There is something waiting for you inside these words, and by the end, you will understand why certain doors have remained closed, why certain people have suddenly changed, and why your heart has been asking questions that no one around you could answer. You saw the title, and something inside you reacted. Perhaps it was curiosity. Perhaps it was discomfort. Perhaps it was the strange feeling that these words were speaking directly to a hidden part of your life. The message says, ignore this, lose everything. I am testing. But listen carefully, because this is not a threat of fear. This is a revelation about focus. You are not being tested to destroy you. You are being tested to reveal what still controls you, what still distracts you, and what must be released before you can carry what is coming. The test is not about whether you are perfect. It is about whether you can remain faithful to the person you are becoming when nothing around you seems to confirm your progress. It is easy to believe when the answer arrives quickly. It is easy to feel chosen when everyone celebrates you. It is easy to remain peaceful when the road is smooth. But what happens when the silence continues? What happens when someone you trusted misunderstands you? What happens when the opportunity you prepared for appears to pass you by? That is where the deeper test begins. Stay until the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and it concerns the very thing you have been afraid of losing. You have been holding tightly to something because you believe your future depends on it. It may be a relationship, an opportunity, a plan, a reputation, a source of comfort, or a version of life you once believed you needed. You have whispered, please do not let this disappear. Yet heaven has been watching more than the thing in your hands. Heaven has been watching what happens inside your heart whenever that thing feels uncertain. You must understand this. Sometimes the greatest spiritual test does not arrive looking like a test. It arrives looking like an inconvenience. It looks like unanswered messages. It looks like a sudden delay. It looks like someone pulling away without explaining why. It looks like a plan changing after you invested all your hope into it. It looks like being forced to wait while others move ahead. You call it confusion, but heaven may be using it as a mirror. The mirror is showing you where your peace comes from. Does your peace come from knowing that everything is under control, or does your peace remain when you cannot control anything? Does your confidence depend on someone choosing you, or can you remember your worth even when they hesitate? Does your faith remain strong only when the signs are obvious, or can you keep walking when the signs disappear? Do not skip this part, because the hidden truth is beginning to rise. You have not been losing everything. You have been discovering what was never stable enough to carry your destiny. Some things felt permanent because you had become emotionally attached to them, but attachment is not the same as alignment. Familiarity is not the same as purpose. A door can feel comfortable and still be too small for the future waiting on the other side. There is a reason you have felt restless lately. There is a reason your spirit has not allowed you to settle fully into old patterns. You may have tried to return to the version of yourself who accepted less, stayed silent, ignored inner warnings, or kept giving long after you became empty. But something inside you resisted. You could not comfortably return, because growth had already changed your spiritual dimensions. The old room no longer fits you. And now the test is asking a question: will you shrink yourself to remain inside what you have outgrown, or will you trust that letting go is not the same as losing everything? Pause here for a moment. There is a difference between losing and being released. Losing feels like something valuable has been taken from you. Being released means something was removed because it could not travel where you are going. Your heart may experience both in the same way at first. Tears do not always know the difference. Disappointment does not always understand purpose. But time reveals what pain cannot explain immediately. You are being tested in the space between removal and revelation. This is the uncomfortable middle, where the old is fading but the new has not fully appeared. It is the place where you question yourself. It is the place where doubt whispers, maybe you made the wrong decision. It is the place where loneliness tries to convince you that you should return to what hurt you simply because it was familiar. But do not go backward just because forward feels quiet. Something extraordinary is being built inside your silence. You cannot see it yet because much of the work is happening beneath the surface. A foundation is never celebrated while it is being poured. People admire the finished structure, but they rarely understand the unseen days when nothing impressive appeared above the ground. Your life has been in a foundation season. That is why you have felt hidden. That is why your efforts have seemed unnoticed. That is why you have asked, when will something finally change? But hidden does not mean forgotten. Hidden can mean protected. Hidden can mean prepared. Hidden can mean you are being strengthened away from the noise so that applause will not control you when your time arrives. The testing is revealing whether you can honor the unseen work. Can you continue when no one claps? Can you remain kind when no one rewards you? Can you hold your boundaries when someone tries to make you feel guilty for changing? Can you stay honest when a shortcut promises immediate relief? Can you believe that your life still has direction even when the map is incomplete? These questions are not meant to condemn you. They are meant to awaken you. You have spent too long believing that every delay means denial. You have spent too long thinking that every closed door means you were not worthy. But some doors were closed because the room behind them contained a version of life that would have slowly emptied you. You were praying for access, while heaven was providing protection. Now something is about to become clear. There was a moment in your recent past when you almost forced an outcome. You were tired of waiting. You were tired of uncertainty. You wanted an answer so badly that you considered accepting less than what your spirit had asked for. Perhaps you were ready to send one more message. Perhaps you were ready to return to an old situation. Perhaps you were ready to agree to something that did not feel right simply because you feared there would be no other opportunity. But something interrupted you. Maybe the timing changed. Maybe the person became unavailable. Maybe your energy suddenly felt heavy. Maybe an unexpected event stopped the decision. You may have called it bad luck, but it was not meaningless. The interruption was part of the test. You were being shown whether urgency would make you abandon your wisdom. This is where many people lose what truly matters. They do not lose everything because God removes everything. They lose their clarity by reacting too quickly. They lose their peace by chasing what has already shown them instability. They lose their identity by trying to prove their worth to people who benefit from their insecurity. They lose their direction because they mistake emotional intensity for divine confirmation. That is why this message reached you now. You are standing near a decision, even if you have not fully recognized it yet. Something will soon ask for your attention. It may arrive as an invitation, a conversation, an apology, an unexpected opportunity, or a sudden return from someone who once left you confused. At first, it will seem like the answer you have been waiting for. But the test will not be in what appears. The test will be in whether you notice what has changed. Has the person truly changed, or have they only returned because they miss your presence? Has the opportunity become aligned, or are you simply tired of waiting for something better? Has the situation become healthy, or has loneliness made it look more beautiful than it is? Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the next revelation concerns the sign you must watch for. The sign will not be excitement. Excitement can be produced by familiarity, chemistry, attention, praise, or sudden movement. The sign will be peace. Not passive peace. Not the peace of avoiding reality. The kind of peace that remains even after you ask difficult questions. The kind of peace that does not demand you betray yourself. The kind of peace that allows you to move slowly without fear of losing what is truly meant for you. What belongs in your life will not require you to abandon your discernment. This does not mean every aligned path will be easy. Growth can feel uncomfortable. Honest conversations can feel intense. New beginnings can feel unfamiliar. But there is a difference between discomfort that expands you and confusion that diminishes you. One challenges you to grow. The other keeps you doubting your worth. You already know this difference. Your body has tried to tell you. Your heart has tried to tell you. Your sleepless thoughts have tried to tell you. There were moments when you smiled on the outside while something inside you whispered, "This does not feel right." You ignored that whisper because you did not want to lose the connection, the opportunity, or the dream. But every time you ignored the whisper, you lost a little peace. That is what the title truly means. Ignore this, lose everything, does not mean one missed message will erase your life. It means ignoring your inner truth repeatedly can cost you the parts of yourself you fought hard to rebuild. You can lose your confidence by remaining where you are constantly questioned. You can lose your joy by carrying responsibilities that were never yours. You can lose your voice by always making yourself smaller to keep others comfortable. The test is asking you to choose differently now. You are not the same person you were when the pattern began. You have learned through disappointment. You have grown through silence. You have discovered that being needed is not the same as being valued. You have learned that someone can admire your light while still resisting your boundaries. You have learned that promises are not transformation. You have learned that apologies matter only when behavior changes. And yet, the most important lesson has not fully revealed itself. That lesson is connected to why certain things have not worked, despite your effort. You believed the problem was that you were not trying hard enough. So you gave more. You explained more. You waited longer. You forgave sooner. You worked later. You pushed yourself beyond exhaustion. You thought dedication could make everything align. But effort cannot turn misalignment into purpose. You can water a seed faithfully, but if it was planted in soil that cannot sustain it, more water will not create the right environment. Sometimes your effort was never the issue. The issue was where you were pouring it. The test is not asking, "Can you endure more?" You have already proven you can endure. The test is asking, "Can you stop confusing endurance with destiny?" That question changes everything. You were taught to be strong, but strength without wisdom can become self-abandonment. You were taught not to give up, but refusing to release what is unhealthy is not always loyalty. You were taught to fight for what you love, but love should not require you to fight alone forever. There comes a moment when persistence must become discernment. That moment is approaching. Soon, something from your past may attempt to re-enter your future. It will not necessarily look harmful. It may come with warm words. It may arrive with regret. It may offer you the explanation you once begged to receive. Part of you may feel relieved. Part of you may say, "Finally, I was right to wait." But before you celebrate, observe. Do not observe only what they say. Observe what happens to your spirit. Do you feel free to be honest, or do you immediately begin editing yourself? Do you feel respected, or do you begin preparing to prove your value again? Do you feel calm, or do you feel the familiar anxiety of wondering when the warmth will disappear? The test will be subtle because you are no longer being tested by obvious darkness. You have grown beyond that. Now you are being tested by almost alignment. Things that look close to what you prayed for. Things that contain some beauty but still require you to betray one important truth. This is a higher level of discernment. You will not be tempted by what you clearly dislike. You will be tested by what you deeply want. That is why you must remain awake. There is a blessing connected to your next decision, but it cannot enter a space still occupied by fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear that nothing better will come. Fear that your best days have already passed. Those fears are not prophecies. They are echoes. They come from moments when you felt forgotten, rejected, or overlooked. They come from nights when you wondered why others received answers while you received another lesson. But your delay was never proof that life had abandoned you. It was evidence that your next chapter required a stronger foundation than your previous one. What is coming will require stability. It will require you to receive without suspicion. It will require you to be seen without hiding. It will require you to stand inside joy without waiting for disaster. This is why the test has been so deep. Heaven is not only preparing the blessing for you. Heaven is preparing you to remain whole after the blessing arrives. You have known how to survive disappointment. Now you must learn how to trust peace. That may be harder than you expect. When someone has lived through instability, calm can feel unfamiliar. Healthy love can feel too quiet. A genuine opportunity can feel suspicious because there is no chaos attached. You may be tempted to sabotage what is good simply because your nervous system recognizes struggle more easily than safety. But this test is teaching you a new language. The language of patience without panic. Boundaries without guilt. Hope without desperation. Love without self-erasure. Faith without needing constant proof. Something inside you is changing as you hear these words. You are beginning to understand that the pressure was not designed to make you fail. It was exposing the places where you still believed you had to earn what was meant to meet you in truth. You do not have to chase respect. You do not have to beg for consistency. You do not have to become exhausted to prove that your dream matters. You do not have to lose yourself to keep what belongs to you. But there is one final part of the test that you have not seen yet. It is connected to a choice you will soon face, and this choice will not announce itself as a spiritual moment. It may happen during an ordinary conversation. It may begin with a simple message. It may arrive on a day when you are distracted and emotionally tired. That is why this message is reaching you before it happens. You will be given an opportunity to respond as your old self or as your healed self. The old self will want immediate certainty. The old self will fear losing the moment. The old self will believe that saying no means nothing else will come. The old self will rush, explain, overgive, and ignore the smallest warning. But the healed self will pause. The healed self will remember these words. The healed self will ask, "Does this honor who I am becoming?" And when that moment comes, you will notice something that changes the entire meaning of the test. Because the person, opportunity, or situation in front of you will say one thing, but beneath their words, a hidden truth will be revealed. A truth you were never supposed to notice before. A truth connected to why you were delayed, why your peace was disturbed, and why heaven would not allow you to settle. You are closer to that revelation than you realize. Do not ignore the feeling rising inside you now. Do not dismiss the memory that suddenly came to your mind. It is connected. There is a detail you once overlooked, a sentence someone spoke, a promise that never matched their actions, or a repeated pattern you tried to excuse. That detail is the key. And in part 2, the hidden meaning behind that detail will reveal exactly what God has been testing, and what may happen the moment you finally pass.